Hello students, let's start second part of the chapter Town, Traders and Craftspersons. Today we are going to start the topic Temple Towns and Pilgrimage Centers. Before starting this topic, we should know about temple towns in India. So let's discuss about major temple towns with the help of map of India. See, this is the map of India, and in this map, we will see some major temple towns of India. Start from the south. Madurai in Tamil Nadu, Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, you can see here, and second is Madurai, this one, then Tanjore, after that Tiruvannamalai, this one near Kanchipuram, then Kanchipuram near Chennai, Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh, and here in Odisha, Puri near Chilka Lake, Konark also near Chilka Lake, and both of the temple towns situated near Bhubaneswar. Puri is very famous for Jagannath temple, Konark is famous for Sun temple, Mahabaleshwar, it is in Maharashtra, Somnath in Gujarat. After that, you can see Varanasi, old traditional pilgrimage center. Mathura and Vrindavan both are in UP. You can see Kurukshetra in Haryana. Guwahati, famous for Kamakhyan temple, Ma Kamakhyan temple. Nalanda, old center. After that, in northern India, Vaishno Devi, Jammu and Kashmir, Amarnath also in Jammu and Kashmir. So dear students, see this map very carefully, and you have to fill the map like this with the help of this map by watching this video, and you have to understand the location of all the temple towns. So as we have seen in the map that Tanjore is very important example of temple town. Temple towns represent a very important pattern of urbanization. Why? Because earlier the temples were set up in those places where the people used to come in the temples and for the fulfilling the need of pilgrims. Different kinds of shops and different kinds of traders and other shopkeepers came there, and merchants also came there. They settled down near about the temples, and in this way these temple locations became the urban areas. So the process by which cities develop, this is urbanization, this is the process by which cities develop, it is called urbanization. Temples are often central to the economy and society. You have to remember why. Because near about the temple, the traders, merchants, shopkeepers, etc., they settled down. They used to do the different kinds of economic activities and trade, etc. So rulers built temples to demonstrate their devotion to various deities. They also endowed temples with grants of land and money to carry out elaborate rituals, feed pilgrims, and priest and celebrate festivals. So these also were the symbol of the powers of the kings. So those kings who used to make the big temples, they used to build the big temples, it means they were powerful kings. They used to do the different kinds of rituals and other kinds of activities. So pilgrims who flocked to the temples also made donations. So in this way temples became the big hub of economy. Next, we can see temple authorities use their wealth to finance trade and banking. They use the money that was gathered in the temple, and gradually a large number of priests, workers, artisans, traders, etc. settled near the temple to cater to its needs, and those of the pilgrims, because as we discussed that pilgrims used to come there and for fulfilling the needs of the pilgrims, because most of the people used to come from far areas, right, from very far away. So thus grew temple towns. In this way these temple towns became like urban areas. Towns emerged around temples such as those of Bhilaswamin, Bhilas or Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, one example. Second example is of Somnath in Gujarat. Other important temple towns included Kanchipuram, Madurai in Tamil Nadu, as we have seen in the map of India, and Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh, also we see in the map in India. So you have to remember, dear students. So pilgrimage centers also slowly developed into township, because these centers became the hub of the economy. Again, the people, different kinds of people gathered there, and they started the trade, shopkeeping, etc. Like Vrindavan, this was pilgrimage center, UP, famous for god Krishna, the place related to god Krishna in Hindu mythology, and situated in UP. And Thiruvannamalai in Tamil Nadu, as we have seen in the map of India before a short while, are examples of two such towns. Ajmer in Rajasthan was the capital of Chauhan kings in the 12th century and later became the Suba headquarters under Mughals. And it provides an excellent example of religious coexistence, right? Where Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti, the celebrated Sufi saint who settled there in the 12th century, attracted devotees from all creeds, all of the main religions of India. The people belong to different kinds of religious communities. They go there, means on this particular place, and near Ajmer is a lake Pushkar, which has attracted pilgrims from ancient times. So in this way, these temple towns or pilgrimage centers became very important hub of different kinds of activities. So what was the network of small towns? From the 8th century onwards, means after 700 BC, the subcontinent was dotted. Sorry. 8th century means 700 AD. This was the specific period when subcontinent was dotted with several small towns. These probably emerged from large villages. Large villages changed into small towns. They usually had a mandapika. This was small mandi like that, and to which nearby villagers brought their produce to sell. It means the villagers used to carry the things to sell in mandapikas, right? So these mandapikas became the big mandis, and after that they also had market streets called hatta. Hatta means today it is known as hart, lined with shops. Besides, there were streets for different kinds of artisans such as potters, oil pressers, sugar makers, toddy makers, smith, stonemasons, etc. While some traders lived in the town, others traveled from town to town, and many came from far and near to these towns to buy local articles and sell products of distant places like horses, salt, camphor, saffron, betel nut, and spices like pepper. And these people used to come from south, right, to the north of India, and different temple towns. So these activities were conducted like trade, and shops also were there in the hattas or hart. It was known as in later time. So there were streets for different kinds of artisans, as we have discussed about. So these were craftspeople also. So dear students, in this way, this was the network of small towns. Usually a Samanta known as Jamindar, built a fortified palace in or near these towns. They levied taxes on traders, artisans, means those people used to come there to sell their products. So tax was imposed on the trade and on the traders, artisans, and articles of trade, and sometimes donated the right to collect these taxes to local temples. So local temples had the power to collect these kinds of taxes, which had been built by themselves or by rich merchants. So these rights were recorded in inscriptions that have survived to this day. You can take the example of this one, taxes on markets. The following is a summary from a 10th century inscription. In 10th century, this inscription from Rajasthan, which list the dues that were to be collected by temple authorities. So temple authorities means had to be supposed to collect these kinds of dues or taxes. So there were taxes in kind of sugar and jaggery, dyes, thread, cotton, coconut, salt, and areca nuts, and butter, sesame, and after that on cloth. Besides, there were taxes on traders, on those who sold metal goods, distillers, on oil, on cattle fodder, and on loads of grain. Some of these taxes were collected in kind, while others were collected in cash. So both of the ways were there for the collection of the taxes, means in the kind also and in cash also. So dear students, we have discussed about this very important topic, network of small towns, what kind of activities were there, and what kind of network was there from the villages to the small towns, as we have discussed. And one more thing is here, let's discuss about this bronze, bell metal, and the lost wax technique. Bronze is an alloy. You know that this is an alloy containing both the metals copper and tin. So this is the mixture of copper and tin. Bronze is the mixture of copper and tin. Bell metal contains a greater proportion of tin than other kinds of bronze. This produces a bell like sound. Chola bronze statues, we can see in chapter 2, were made using the lost wax technique. First, an image was made of wax. This was covered with clay and allowed to dry. Next, it was heated and a tiny hole was made in the clay cover. The molten wax was drained out after that and through this hole. Then molten metal was poured into the clay mold through the hole. Once the metal cooled and solidified, after cooling it became solid. The clay cover was carefully removed. So this was means working as structure, and the image was cleaned up and polished. You can see this one. This is the technique that was used, lost wax technique. A bronze statue of Krishna subduing the serpent demon Kalia. This is Kalia Nag, was also means very famous in Hindu methodology related to God Krishna. In the story of God Krishna, you might have listened about this. So dear students, in this way we have completed this topic, temple towns and pilgrimage. In the next video we will discuss about the rest of the topics of this chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.